My apologies, everybody. I'm always right to the minute, so I'm fired. 2 years, I had 2 years left, but I'm fired. Sorry. And Michelle Fiore, sadly was in an accident, and hopefully you're watching and you feel well. We wish you the best, and our prayers to everyone in Ukraine. So we will, Mr. Riggleman? Okay. The May 4th, 2022 meeting of the City Council is called to order. This meeting has been properly noticed and posted in compliance with the open meeting law. These proceedings are being video recorded as well as presented live on KCLV, Cable Channel 2. You may also watch the meeting live on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, on the Go Vegas app. City Council meeting, as well as all other KCLV programming, may be viewed on the internet at www.kclv.tv/live. The proceedings will be rebroadcast on KCLV Channel 2 and the web on Wednesday of the meeting at 8 p.m., Friday at 4 a.m., Saturday at 7 p.m., and at 7 a.m. and that was Sunday at 7 a.m. and the following Monday at 5 p.m. The building is protected by state-of-the-art fire detection and suppression sprinkler systems. If alarms should activate during today's meeting, please evacuate using the exit at the back of the chambers, go out to the mezzanine, proceed out the double doors to the terrace, and go down the back staircase. For anyone who has difficulty with stairs, please check with a marshal or fire official for assistance. Once outside, assemble on the northeast corner across the street from City Hall at Lewis and First. Employees wearing safety vests or city marshals will inform you when it's safe to re-enter the building. For public comment, related to items on the agenda, citizen participation, or public hearing items, we have available a speaker card which you may complete and submit to our city clerk up front. Cards are available in the clerk's office or at the rear of these chambers. If you do not submit a card, it does not prevent you from speaking under public comment, citizen participation, or specified public hearing items. And if anyone's present today who has need for hearing impaired equipment, please see our clerk staff. And if you parked in the parking garage across the street, a self-validation machine is located in the foyer between the council chambers and security desk you walk through to enter our chambers. You must have your ticket with you to use the machine, but if you do not, please see security personnel when exiting for a validation coupon. Before we proceed with the agenda this morning, would everyone please rise for the invocation given by Pastor David Dendy, Mountain View Presbyterian Church, and remain standing for our pledge. Welcome back, and thank you for taking care of us all.
Thank you, Mayor Goodman, City Council. Good to see all of your full faces. Last time I only saw your eyes, so it's good to see everybody. Let's pray. Gracious God, we thank you for being present with us this day. Watch over our city council and all of their discussions and deliberations. We thank you for our city becoming the entertainment capital of the world with stupendous shows, super sporting events, spectacular Red Rock scenery. Las Vegas knows how to entertain the masses. And may we also entertain ideas on how to house the homeless. May we also entertain solutions on how to feed the hungry. May we also entertain ways and means to employ the unemployed. May the rising tide of tourism raise all the boats, all the people in our city. On this Star Wars Day, May the 4th be with us. May the force of your love shine bright over our city. May the force of your grace flood our hearts. May the force of your care extend to the far reaches of our city, downtown, uptown, and even out of town. May the force of doing good, being good, and offering good be with all of us this day. For it's in your name we pray. Amen. Thank you. Thank you. To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, here we come, ceremonial time. Oh, my goodness. Well, as you know, this is a ceremonial portion of our council agenda. And our first item, I have the great pleasure of shouting bingo, because we are going to be recognizing a Citizen of the Month. And please join me in welcoming that person, our wonderful favorite representative of Elvis Presley, Jesse Garon. Please come on up. We never know what he's wearing, who he looks like, what he's doing. Wonderful.
I hope y'all don't mind if I say a few words.
Well, you're not yet there. Shy as he is, of course. So for those who are watching on television and absolutely know who you are many times of the day and year as you change your real self, Jess Garon. And he is the king of all the Las Vegas Elvi, paying tribute to the one and only Elvis Presley. Jesse is a fabulous promoter of all things Las Vegas, which is what we're always trying to do, and is really an ambassador for our city. He's been working in our city since 1992. So, wow, are you getting up there? Oh. And he's been doing that, offering his wonderful pink Cadillac convertible to so many of us who enjoy riding in it, if it's working. He also officiates at weddings and has worked with many of the entertainment stars that come here and are celebrities. Jesse, of course, is also the unofficial Elvis of the city of Las Vegas, having been a fixture in our parades and events, going way back to when my husband Oscar was mayor and started off in '99. Whether it has been at every Las Vegas Day parade, Martin Luther King Jr. parades, 4th of July parades out in Summerlin or downtown, LGBTQ parades and veterans parades, Jesse's at the wheel of his hopefully moving magnificent Cadillac, and so often has driven Oscar and me along the parade routes. He's even taken me to the State of the City address and appeared in a video highlighting all attractions in our great city. That was done by our Public Information Office, and it was a fabulous trip. He's participated in so many events around the city and has so many accolades. Here are but a few. Otherwise, you'd have to bring your pillows and you'd be here for days. But he has participated in the Las Vegas Centennial celebrations starting in 2005. He has served as Elvis for the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority. He has also served with Opportunity Village and became Volunteer of the Year. First Elvis to be an ordained minister, able to perform wedding ceremonies in Las Vegas. And he did perform for hundreds of us as we all had the pleasure of renewing our vows. And Oscar and I participated in that on Fremont Street.
090909.
090909. Wonderful. And he's appeared with the Las Vegas Hometown Heroes and rock bands, The Killers for video, and Imagine Dragons for a live performance at the Hard Rock. And the Florida Georgia line, you helped bring them here where we recognize them, featuring Jesse and his pink Cadillac in the music video. So what a wonderful member of our wonderful Las Vegas family, and a booster who's out there all the time promoting everything we do here. We love him, and I know he loves our entire community of Las Vegas. So we are proud to name you our May 2022 Citizen of the Month, and Mayor Pro Tem has your plaque with that, so you can hang it in the car, okay? And maybe you would love to say a few words.
That is fantastic. Thank you.
We're so proud of you.
Mayor, you're a sweetheart. Thank you for that. You know, when they called me on this award, the first thing I thought was, God, have they run out of citizens in Las Vegas? What the heck is going on here? But, you know, I thought about it, and I started thinking back. It's about 32 years I've been here in Las Vegas, and it made me think even further back to when I was a kid and my upbringing and what's actually got me to this spot here. And without the upbringing of my mom and dad, my mom's in the audience today. Go ahead, stand up, Mama. Take a bow, Mama. Come on now. She's a sheriff from Dallas, Texas. She flew in all the way from Dallas. So there's nobody any more selfless than sheriffs and cops who give back and put their life on the line on a daily basis. And that's what I'm here to talk about is giving back. You know, many, many years ago when we moved here, one of my men who became an idol to me as we get into adulthood, we start, you know, looking at things and learning things. And one of the biggest ones was Oscar Goodman, man. He with his downtown development, his revitalization of downtown. I heard him talk about it every day on the runs we went on to, so much that, well, we opened an art bar downtown, and we did great down there for many, many years. We were ahead of the curve. But another one who is another person I got to look at and watch and give example to, because we all learn this stuff by example. We got to give example. And one of the main things I saw was his wife, who at the time, a long time ago, had very little kids, and saw our education system and said, going to do something about this. And she created her own school, one of the best in the whole world. And it's you that give back, your husband gives back with his time and money and everything to the city that we really, really...
They don't need to hear about me, talk about you.
We only have 7 more pages to go, ma'am. Anyway, I believe it is people's civic duty to give back whenever they can. As a matter of fact, even pay it forward. And when we were receiving awards like from Opportunity Village and so forth, you know, that's what I feel is giving back. And we did over 550 gigs in 2020. Then a small thing hit called the pandemic. We did 8 that following year. And if it wasn't for Las Vegas, people like you who put forth these programs and so forth, and friends, and all these friends here on the front row, y'all stand up, take a bow. Would you please? Come on, stand up. Take a bow. Come on, all. You came all this way. We've known you for life. That's good. Thank you very much. Appreciate that, guys. So what I want to say is that it's important to give back, and that, hold on, Mayor, I want to do this. Actually, you do this for a living. This is easy. You make it look easy. You know, I ain't got to hold it. There you go. There we go. Hold on now. This is good. Hold on. You're going to like this. Right here, once I get this thing over, you're going to love this. You're going to like this right here. Here you go.
Thank heavens your mother's here. If we get in trouble with you, we're just going to turn to her and take you away.
Well, I'll just say in closing that we've had a good 32, how many years? 30 years. Let's go with 30 years. 32 years, actually. And we've had great success, recognition, and prosperity here in fabulous Las Vegas. So it was solely by the grace of God, my friends and family, that actually got me through in that community support. But put forth in advance by you guys, we really do appreciate that. So I've been down, I've been up here in Las Vegas, and this is definitely one of my ups. This is definitely one of my finest moments. This is definitely something I will never, ever forget. So council, mayor, I want to thank you all for it. I do not take it lightly. I'm very proud of it. And everybody out there who gives back and then donates to the city, I want to personally thank you. Keep doing the good work. We're going to keep doing our good work. We're going to keep pressing on. We're at the top. We're going to keep pushing Las Vegas. This is one of the best cities in the whole world. And it's been so good to me. And all I can say to that is, Viva Las Vegas. Oh,
Wonderful. Thank you. Don't forget your trophy. And let's all come up front for a picture, if we can. You hold. Let's go in front, if you would.
Oh, front.
Okay. And your name's going to be on the sign at the corner. Is that right? So you bring your pink Cadillac. It is true.
I would just like it from the back of the head.
No, it's just we were praying all the time that the car, thank goodness the pastor talked about prayer today.
You must have it
We were
good Lord,
praying.
because of the-
Oh,
Thank y'all for saying that.
so proud of you. Mom, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Jesse, you want? Can you pass that back to Mom? Then she can see what he was really saying. Okay. Anyway, you really have been an ambassador, and I know you taught all the children every year at Opportunity Village to dance and sing, and it was just a wonderful experience, especially at the Santa Run. That's where they appeared, so thank you. Thank you so much. So for our final item, and we are just so lucky to have our wonderful councilwoman, Seaman, from Ward 2. What have you got for us?
Well, one of the most important things in my family is serving, and it's a selfless thing to serve our countries. And so today, I want to honor Brigadier General Troy E. Armstrong. Will you come up, please? Brigadier General Troy E. Armstrong was born in Minot. Did I say that right? Minot, North Dakota. He enlisted in the United States Army Reserves in 1988 and completed infantry training at Fort Benning, Georgia. In 1991, following graduation from Morehead State University, he relocated to Nevada and joined the Nevada Army National Guard. He enrolled in the Nevada OCS program and received his commission as a second lieutenant of armor in 1996. Accordingly, as a commissioned officer, Brigadier General Armstrong has served in every command position from platoon leader through brigade command and now land component commander. Brigadier General Armstrong assumed this command in November 2020. As such, he is responsible for the manning, training, readiness, and equipping of 1 brigade, 6 battalions, and over 3,200 soldiers, as well as overseeing execution of over $156 million annual budget. His awards and decorations include the Legion of Merit, Bronze Star Medal, the Meritorious Service Medal, the Army Commendation Medal, the Army Achievement Medal, the Combat Action Badge, the Joint Meritorious Unit Award, the Iraq Campaign Medal, 2 Bronze Stars, and the Global War on Terrorism Expedition and Service Medals. Wow. I now have the honor of introducing General Armstrong to say a few words.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So, wow, that was, the Army is really good at creating lots of acronyms and giving out lots of awards. So, but thank you so much for that introduction, Councilwoman Seaman. And Mayor Goodman and to the entire City Council, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here to receive recognition. I'm truly humbled. And if it's okay, I'd just like to acknowledge a few folks that are here as well and that are partially responsible for this. But first and foremost, my wife and counterpart, Yvette Armstrong, who's sitting with us today. She stood by me for the last 29 years, went through 4 deployments and many other things that I've done with the military. And it's truly our families that help us serve. It's their support that allows us to be strong, whether in the National Guard, the Reserves, or the active duty. So thank you to my wife, Yvette, and really to all of our family members and the family members of those service members out there serving so proudly every day. I'd also like to acknowledge my employer real quick, Clark County, Nevada, who again has supported me through the last 30 years now as I get ready to retire in September. And along with our family members, it's really our employers for National Guard and Reservists that strong support from employers really helps us to be able to continue serving. And so I want to thank all the employers out there for our National Guard and Reserve forces. What you do actually really truly does help support our nation's defense. So thank you to all our employers. A couple more folks, and then I'll get into the last few comments. I want to recognize two gentlemen here in the front seat. Leonard Yonek, the president of our Military Officers Association here, and retired Naval Reservist officer. Thank you, Leonard, for being here. And then Bob Maxwell. Bob is the CEO of Voice of the Veterans, just a outstanding organization who goes out and really tells the story of our veterans and helps them to navigate through the VA medical system and does wonderful things as a nonprofit organization. So thank you, Bob. One individual I don't see here that I also want to mention, but Mr. Peter Polivos and his wife, Vicky. Peter also serves as the chairman of the board for Voice of the Veterans, just an incredible individual. And my wife and I have gotten to know him and his wife over the last 6 months or so, and I've just been so impressed by this individual. He reaches out and is always looking not just to serve veterans and our members of the military, but really he does wonderful work throughout the community in supporting all kinds of nonprofit and other efforts. So thank you so much, Peter and Vicky. And then, of course, our veterans and currently serving members of our military, thank you so much for what you do and for your service. I was mentioning, I have a son that's currently up in Idaho running range operations. He's an executive officer for one of our cavalry troops, our combat arms unit here in Nevada. I've got a son and a daughter-in-law in the Navy in Yasuka, Japan. And then I've got a son-in-law who's a former Marine who's served formerly with Marines and doing an outstanding job living in Atlanta. So, but it's really our military that keeps us safe and helps protect and defend freedom. And it couldn't be more evident today as we watch the events unfolding in Europe, in Ukraine and the tragedy there. But it's a strong military that prevents that. And that's one of the things that I just wanted to make sure that I reach out and say thank you to all our service members. So with that being the case, I'd like to accept this recognition on behalf of the 3,200 Army and another 1,100 Air National Guard members from the state of Nevada for the incredible work they've done over the last couple of years in particular. As you know, we've stood shoulder to shoulder with our first responders, our community health care providers, our firefighters, our law enforcement in the battle against COVID-19, both in the response and the recovery. Together, we, along with our National Guard, has helped to run and manage the testing and vaccination sites, sanitizing nursing homes, delivering PP and food. And they've done all that and continued to do the other missions, including search and rescue operations, battling fires against multiple Western states. And I mention that because it's important to know that your Guard is always ready and always there. General Dan Hokanson, the chief of the National Guard Bureau, stood up in front of a national crowd this last summer and told a story about a Nevada National Guardsman. I want you to hear this. In the Dixie, it was a bootleg fire in Oregon in July, and a firefighter had been displaced from his crew more than 1.5 miles away, separated as the flames started to close in. And as he started to realize the dire situation he was in and start to contemplate the end of his existence, maybe never to see his family again, a rescue call had went out. And in the distance, as things became bleak, he heard the rescuer, the thunder of the LUH-72 Lakota helicopter flown by Chief Warrant Officer Kevin Keeler from the Nevada National Guard. Kevin received the call that day. He was on duty, and he went into action. He helped to identify and locate that displaced firefighter and make sure that he was rescued and able to return to his family. That's indicative of what our National Guard does each and every day. That's not the exception. And at the same time, we continue to train, mobilize, deploy, and send units across the globe to support our combatant commanders. We currently have a unit serving in Kuwait right now, Delta Company 221, serving proudly in the Middle East. and we're getting ready to send another unit of military police out to support our NATO allies in the next 60 days in Europe. So I just want to end it with that and say again, thank you so much for the recognition. I accept it on behalf of our soldiers and airmen in the Nevada National Guard. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. As we honor you, you have honored so many. You're an amazing human being. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
5 minutes, is that what it is, Mr. Riegelman? 5 minutes, so we can catch up with our technology. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, please, everyone, agenda item 7. This is our first public comment during this portion of the agenda, which must be limited to matters on the agenda for action. The amount of time any single speaker is allowed may be limited. All comments will be cross-referenced to those specific items. So if anyone submitted a speaker card or wishes to speak under this portion of the agenda, please come to the podium, state your name for the record. It's your opportunity to address the council, but council will not respond or engage in dialogue, and we'll set the time at 1 minute. And remember, at the end of council, we'll have another opportunity. Thank you. Good morning.
Madam Mayor, Daniel Braisted, B-R-A-I-S-T-E-D. Item number 17, I'm curious what sort of professional services we are paying for the Las Vegas Fire Department.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak under public comment now? Okay, I will close our public comment, and we will go on to agenda item 8. Business items for possible action, any items from the 9:30 a.m. session that council staff and/or applicant wish to be stricken, table, withdrawn, or held in abeyance to a future meeting may be brought forward and acted upon at this time. And Mayor Pro Tem, may I have those, please?
Mayor, I have no items. Thank you.
Wow. We are moving along. Somebody's watching the clock, I hope. Agenda item 9 for possible action to approve the final minutes by reference to the April 6th, 2022 regular city council meeting. Mayor Pro Tem, may I have a motion on the minutes, please?
Move to approve.
Thank you. This is a motion to approve the minutes. Please vote and please post. I'm trying, and the answer is aye. There it is. Wonderful, that carries. We'll move on to agenda item 10. Items 10 through 25 on the consent agenda are considered to be routine, recommended for approval by the departments, may be enacted in one motion. Note that the record should reflect my abstentions on items number 20 and 21 as they relate to marijuana-related business. One of my sons involved in that industry. I'll be voting on all other items. Are there any other items council wishes to bring forth? Okay, Mayor Pro Tem, I have a motion on consent.
I will move to approve the consent agenda items 10 through 25.
Please vote on the motion and please post. That motion carries. So we will move on to agenda item 26. Discussion for possible action regarding the approval of complaint and to set a hearing date for disciplinary action against JLFL Entertainment LLC, DBA Club 2100, and Francisco Lara, managing member whose place of business is located at 2100 Fremont Street, Las Vegas, Clark County, Nevada 89101, as holders in the nightclub license number D19-00012, tavern license number L16-00390, tobacco license number C05-02873, tobacco establishment license number P63-00082, and automated teller machine license number G64-03989 for violations of the Las Vegas Municipal Code. This is Ward 3 with Councilwoman Diaz. And
Mayor, if I might, I'll lead off. I know Director Seth Floyd is out there as well. Jeff Dorgak, Assistant City Attorney for the record. This item is merely to approve a complaint against Club 2100 and to then set the public hearing on that complaint for potential disciplinary action. So it will not involve today any type of disciplinary hearing. We're just setting the date within the next 60 days and also approving the complaint as I led off with. Mr. Floyd might have some additional comments. I suspect the business is here to address the council, but we're just setting the date, so we don't want to go off, and as well as Deputy City Attorney Curtis is here in case there are any other issues. But turn it back to you, Mayor, to take additional comments.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dorkak.
Yes,
And I see Mr.
thank you,
Curtis.
thank you, Jeff.
Is
Yeah,
there
this is just here
anything
for
you
a
wish to
vote
add?
on approval of the filing of the complaint, filing and service of the complaint with a hearing to be set within 60 days of today's date. So all we're asking the council to do is approve the actual submission for hearing at a later time. Thank you.
Is it appropriate for us to hear from these gentlemen?
At this time, it's not a contested hearing. All we're asking for is the basic approval of the complaint to get the procedural the process started, to get the procedure started so that we can have an actual hearing with everyone has an opportunity to be heard after proper notice.
So you're telling me it's more appropriate to move the motion and get that done, that work done, and then they could make the comment?
There's nothing to discuss until the council approves the complaint.
Okay, so
And
may I
then we
have a
serve the
motion
complaint,
on
and then
that?
we have a hearing at a
Mayor,
later time.
Councilwoman, let's have a motion to approve agenda item 26. We'll go forward.
Can we first get Jeff Dorkak, Assistant City Attorney, what's the recommended date for this hearing?
It has to be within 60 days, but I'll leave that to the council's discretion.
And Madam Mayor, I just want to ask, since we have the business owner, what date would be convenient? I know people have vacations or things on their calendars, and so I would like to hear Mr. Lada's availability in the next 60 days. So when would we set the date for the next hearing? What would be amenable to you all?
Thank you very much, Councilwoman Diaz, Madam Mayor. Matt Dushoff, on behalf of Mr. Lara, who's standing next to me right now. We completely understand. We just retained a couple of days ago. I understand the process, that this was just for an approval of this, and then we'll work through the process of hopefully resolving this matter before the hearing. But we can't. We'll have the hearing. 60 days, I'm trying to figure out when it would be. It sort of comes toward July 4th. If we're looking 60 days from today, I would like to sometime, if we could do it mid to late July, if that's amenable.
Correct, it has to be before the 60 days. It looks like probably one of our 2 meetings in June would be best. We don't have a first meeting in July as well, so that would be off the table.
That would be June 15th, I believe. Right. Does June 15th work for you?
June 15th, I will be out of state, coming up pretty closely to that, and so if we can do it.
What are the date choices, Madam Clerk, please?
They're during our meetings, yes?
Because we vacated the first meeting in July, 60 days would put us out. If you tried to attempt the meeting in July, you'd be out of the 60-day range. So the only meetings you have available are May 18th, which is in 2 weeks, June 1st, and June 15th.
We usually don't go that quickly because we try to give the respondent, as much time as they need. But we're ready to go on June 1st if that's amenable to them.
Yeah, we won't. I mean, we just got retained. There's
Okay,
no
how about
possible
June
way
15th?
that we'd be ready then. June 15th.
They can always waive.
They seem okay with
I mean,
June
we could
15th.
They can waive the 60-day requirement. Thank you. I should have said that right off the bat. If they want to formally waive the 60-day requirement, we can put it at a date convenient for them, but they'll have to do that on the record and preferably in writing as well, so that I have it in our file.
Well, he's open right now, so I don't have a problem as long as you're remaining open they haven't closed them down. There's no emergency closure here, to waiving the 60 days and put it in mid to late July, if that's amenable for council and Madam Mayor.
Well, if we go to
Is there any
late,
likelihood that he will be closed down?
right now, as far as I understand, the city has no intention of closing the business down. That is not our intention. That's not part of the disciplinary action we're seeking as of this moment. That's subject to whatever the council agrees on once the hearing is held. But right now, that we have not. There's no emergency shutdowns planned that we know of.
So you prefer to push it out into July?
I would, to give us an opportunity to show, because he wants to be able to show first of all, we want to be able to negotiate if we can. And also, he wants to show what he's doing for improvements, because I know there are concerns from council and from Madam Mayor as well regarding this property. So we want to be able to show what we're doing.
Okay,
We
so
need a
what
little
are
more
our
time.
July dates, choices?
Your Honor, if it were up to me,
July
I have
20th?
scheduled. July 20th works very well for the city, for us, if it works for them.
I'm open on July 20th.
Madam.
July 20th can work.
Councilwoman?
Councilwoman, is that okay?
July 20th.
That works for us?
So
July
let's have a
20th.
motion, if I might,
All right,
please.
so I move to approve the complaint and set the hearing date for July 20th of 2022.
So please vote, and please post. And July 20th it is.
Madam Mayor, may I ask just a quick question
Sure.
for clarity? When you say hearing, is that going to come back in front of council, Mr. Curtis?
Yes, on the 20th would be an actual hearing with a presenting of evidence and an opportunity of the license owner to be heard on all the claims within the disciplinary complaint.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Take care. Have a good morning.
Thank you, you too. Thank you very much. Move on to recommending committee bills. We're on agenda item 27, bills eligible for adoption at this meeting. Bill number 2022-8. Councilman Anthony, would you like the bill read?
Yes, Mayor. Bill number 2022-8, an ordinance to repeal and replace LVMC Section 1.16.20 to 1.16.70, inclusive, to update the description of city ward boundaries to reflect precinct numbering changes made by the Clark County Election Department and to provide for other related matters.
Move for approval.
Thank you. There's a motion on agenda item 27 to approve. Please vote and please post. That motion carries. Let's do 28. Another bill eligible for adoption at this meeting, bill number 2022-9. Councilman Anthony, would you like the bill read?
Yes. Bill number 2022-9, an ordinance to extend the boundaries of the city to particularly describe the land to be annexed, to make its inhabitants subject to the laws, obligations, and benefits of the city, and to provide for other related matters, 22-0062-Annex 1.
Move for approval.
Thank you. There's a motion on agenda item 29 for approval. Please vote and please post. And that motion carries. Thank you very much. Agenda item 29, recommended committee bills eligible for adoption at a later meeting. Items number 29 through 31, bill number 2022-11 through 2022-13 will be heard at a later meeting. We'll move on now to new bills. New bills, items number 32 and 33, bills number 2022-14, 2022-15 will be heard at recommending committee Monday, May 16th, 2022. City Attorney, please read the new bills.
Bill number 2022-14, an ordinance to amend LVMC Title 19 Unified Development Code by amending Appendix F thereof, interim downtown Las Vegas development standards, to adjust the requirements and procedures for the placement of utility boxes and appurtenances within Area 1, as that area is identified in Appendix F, and to provide for other related matters. Bill number 2022-15, an ordinance to amend the land use tables adopted in LVMC Section 19.12.10 to provide that the use blood plasma donor center is permitted in the C1 zoning district by means of a special use permit, and to provide for other related matters.
Thank you. These new bills, 2022-14 and 2022-15, are assigned to the May 16th, 2022 recommending committee. Members, Councilman Anthony and Knudsen and Councilwoman Fiore, if any so designated, are unable to attend, the clerk's office will coordinate finding substitutes as necessary at my direction. Thank you. And we will now move on to one motion, one vote. Item number 34 and 35 may be considered in one motion, one vote, or considered routine, non-public, and public hearing items with no condition changes. Any person representing an application or a member of the public or a member of the council not in agreement with the conditions and all standard conditions for the application recommended by staff should request to have that item removed from this portion of the agenda. So I will read through them. This is 34 and 34A, B, and also agenda item 35. 34 is 220141, applicant Warmington Apartment Communities, owner Warmington CV Associates LP, on the following land use entitlement project requests on 25.55 acres, the east side of Grand Canyon Drive, approximately 400 feet north of West Sky Canyon Park Drive, PD, planned development in R4 high-density residential zone. This is in Ward 6 with Councilwoman Fiore. Agenda item 34A, 220141 EOT1, a previously approved variance VAR 77361 to allow a 0-foot front yard setback where 10 feet is required, 0-foot side yard set and corner side yard setback where 5 feet is required, and 0-foot rear yard setback where 20 feet is required. 34B 220141 EOT2 on a previously approved site development plan review SDR 77362 for approved 3-story 282-unit multifamily residential development with waivers of the perimeter landscape buffer standards, and number 35 220154 EOT1, applicant DTP Management LLC owner, 11th Street Tavern LLC, and land use entitlement project request for a first extension of time for a non-conforming liquor establishment tavern use at 124 South 11th Street T5 MS T5 Main Street Zone Ward 3 with Councilwoman Diaz. Staff recommends approval on all items. Item 35 is a public hearing, which I declare open. Is anyone wishing to be heard? Hearing and seeing none, I'll close public hearing on item number 35. And Mayor Pro Tem, may I have a motion for the one motion, one vote items, please?
Move to approve, one motion, one vote.
Thank you. There's a motion. Please vote on the motion and please post. There it goes. And those motions carry there. Thank you very much. And we'll move on to, did everybody come through? Yeah. Okay, we're moving on to planning. Okay, agenda item 36, and that's 36A and B. 210823 in the following land use entitlement project requests on .52 acres southwest corner of Corin Lane and Sycamore Trail. 36A 210823 ZON1 from C2 General Commercial to M Industrial. 36B 210823 SDR1 for proposed contractors plant, shop, and storage yard development with a waiver of perimeter landscape development standards. The applicant is Richard Torres. The owner is NV Landscapes LLC. Staff recommends denial and Planning Commission recommends approval. These are in Ward 5 with Councilman Creer and in public hearings, which I declare open. Is the applicant or representative present?
Yes, I'm David Strait, DW Strait Architecture, 1223 Heather Oaks Way in North Las Vegas, and this is the owner, Richard Torres.
Thank you very much and welcome. And let's start with Mr. Floyd, please.
Thanks, Mayor. Seth Floyd, and I'm standing up here today because we've only got one discussion item, so I'll do my report from up here. Mayor, the proposed project is not compatible with surrounding development in the area, as existing residential uses are adjacent to the subject site to the north and west. Furthermore, the requested industrial zoning district does not comply with the existing transit-oriented Corridor 2 general plan designation, which calls for lower intensity linear corridor mixed use suitable for future bus rapid transit corridors. Such uses include shopping services, dining, residential offices, and civic land uses, and as such, staff is recommending denial of these applications. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So would you like to make some comments for us? And if you would, then restate your name for the record, and then we'll open up for the public comment.
David Strait.
Thank you very much.
We propose to develop this lot as a materials and equipment storage yard. And we were advised by planning that in a C2 zone that's not allowed. And they also recommended that we apply for M zoning and then propose a design where we would enclose this with a decorative fence that's 8 feet tall. Now, an 8-foot tall fence in M zone requires a variance, so we asked for that variance. When we went to the Planning Commission, they seemed to think that this was compatible with the neighborhood. We don't have any plans to do manufacturing, even though it would be allowed under M zoning, and we did get approval from the recommended approval from the Planning Commission. We did agree to do the off-site improvements, the street, curb, gutter, and sidewalks, and a proper entrance gate. So
Wow.
we understand there are reservations with the M1 zoning.
Okay, so it's more code, just specifics to the code, with all the accommodations that they're saying they have made in the conversation that's been ensuing on this property.
So Mayor, Seth Floyd, for the record, those accommodations still wouldn't make it comply with the code, but certainly they've come closer with some of those things, so staff still sticks by its recommendation.
Okay, thank you very much. Before I turn it over to Councilman Creer, let me ask the public, is there anyone here who wishes to make comment on agenda item 36A or B? Okay, hearing none, I'm going to close public comment, and let's go to you, Councilman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through you, first I just want to thank Mr. Torres and Mr. Strait for working with our team and myself to, make this happen and to properly get the proper zoning in place for this. If you look at this, the parcel now, it's surrounded by a number of county islands that are there, and there's a lot of ruralness to it. They are going to greatly enhance that parcel. If you look at the fence that's there, they're going to have a very nice fence involved, an entryway, and make it really nice and improve it. So one of the things that we wanted to do was to get the proper zoning, and I think you've spoken to Kelly and staff about the M1 zoning seemed very intense more, and not necessarily for your company, but for the parcel itself. Whether you were there or not, the M1 zoning would be, I think, too intense for that. So we worked it out, and we're looking to go from C2 to CM. And you're in understanding that, correct? Mm-hmm. Okay, and you're in favor of that, for the record?
Yeah, we're in agreement to that as long as we can build this yard the way we proposed it.
Yeah, you can. So it's a little bit less intense. And so I'm not sure if my colleagues have any comments. Great. If not, we're going to take these items individually. So I'm going to make a motion to approve item 57A 210823. And that's going to, for the record, it's going to go from C2 general commercial to CM commercial industrial. That's my motion.
Okay, there's motion. Please vote and please post. And that motion carries.
Thank you. And I'm going to make a motion to approve item 57B 210823, which is the site development plan.
36. These are agenda item, you're in the 50s.
Oh.
And if you back up,
yes.
Also too, it was 36. And then 30, which we passed, then 36A, and you'll do 36B next.
Yes, 36B.
Thank you. We're on 36A, so please vote and please post. That carries, and now on to 36B, please.
I think that was 36B. Yeah,
That
we're
was
fine.
B, so we're all of them.
All right. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Okay. So lucky us. Here we are on 37, reports and presentations. This is a report by Jerry Walker, Director, and Ricky Anderson, Facilities Manager, and Teresa Boyce, Real Estate Manager, Department of Operations and Maintenance, on a review of facilities management, real estate operations activities. So this is reference to all wards. So good morning, and thank you for bringing us up to speed.
Thank you, Mayor. Jerry Walker, Director of Operations and Maintenance. As stated, we're here to discuss two activities within the department. Teresa Boyce, manager of our real estate section, is here with me. She will go first to provide that presentation. Unfortunately, Ricky Anderson, our manager for the Facilities Management Division, was unable to attend today, so I'll provide the second half of it. With that, I'll turn it over to Teresa.
Thank you. Welcome. Thanks.
Good morning. My name is Teresa Boyce, and I'm the real estate manager. I first want to go over the real estate section, some of our basic duties. We're a small but mighty department. We do the management of the real estate database. We do real property acquisitions and dispositions, BLM applications, nominations, patents, and leases. We negotiate leases. We do contract management and real property services. And the management of the real estate database is thousands of remnant parcels and all the real property that we have. That includes all the buildings, every vacant land, cemetery, golf courses, parks, and community centers. We're also responsible for updating the city's asset maps. Under real property, we do a lot of acquisitions and dispositions. We are often come to when the city wishes to acquire some property. We acquire that property for a variety of reasons, some of them for parks, healthcare centers, or other city uses. And when we get that request, what we do is we either go ourselves and contact the owner, or we use a broker. Then we start into negotiations. We order appraisals to make sure we pay the proper amount. And then we negotiate a final purchase price, and then we bring it to council. And then we order and review the title documents and close on that property. Under disposal of property, we have done a lot of that recently also, and we're very proud of the fact that we put forth the first online auction for city property. And we were able to dispose of some excess, mostly remnant from right-of-way projects is what we've been getting rid of recently. We always follow the NSRS procedures to dispose of this property. BLM applications, nominations, patents, and leases.
Excuse me
we have
for
a
1 second, if I might, Ms. Boyce. I want to ask Mr. Cervantes. We had cause just within the past month to talk about property taxes. And so is it in this department with them, or is it under finance that somebody is looking at our property taxes being paid on vacant property or on part of the properties that you're going to sell?
Jorge Cervantes for the record, Mayor. So that goes through finance. Finance receives a report from the county assessor. They're the ones that do all the collection of taxes, and then they provide us with our portion of that collection, but it goes through the finance department. Now, they don't give us a lot of details. We talked about how do we know if somebody's been paying taxes on their property. They don't give us reports to that extent, but we can inquire, and they'll give us that information. They also provide us information on parcels where there's liens against them, and they're going to dispose of them through auction, because under the NRS process, if there's property that a public agency is going to dispose of, they make it available to other public agencies first for a public use before they put it out for a public auction. And so it doesn't go through this department, it goes through finance for that. And some of these reports come directly to community service of which properties are available with liens on them in case we have a need for them. But this department is the one that does all the acquisitions. If we find something we want, they'll do the acquisition. Irrelevant of which department it is, they'll do the negotiation and the acquisition of it.
So whose responsibility is that communication and finding out about delinquent taxes? Is that a communication that comes from finance to them, or is it their responsibility to inquire that there are no liens on these properties or whatever, or property taxes delinquent?
So if it's an inquiry, if somebody has a particular parcel they're interested in, one of the departments or a council person or a city manager's office, we'll go through them and say, can you reach out to the assessor's office and find out if there's delinquency? So they will do that for us as part of their service.
Perfect, thank you.
And when we're acquiring property, we do the title report, and all those delinquencies appear upon the title report before we buy that property.
Great, thank you, because I had asked that, and I wasn't quite sure what the response was, whose job it was.
Right, and we go through that title report to make sure we have a clear title before we purchase anything, so. We have a full-time city employee that works part-time at the BLM, and this employee is vital in expediting our city's BLM applications. We also do the nominate parcels for the SNPLMA auctions, and we obtain patents and leases for the city's future public purpose uses, which include parks, fire station, metro, anything that the city has a public purpose for. We negotiate leases. We do a lot of leases. We work with organizations that are both for-profit and not-for-profit. We get a lot of phone calls, especially from the not-for-profit folks that want to have leased property. And we work with them often and try to identify property available for lease. Unfortunately, right now, we don't have hardly anything. So We do the lease terms on what's the best interest of the city, and we work on all the renewals on any property that the lease is expiring on. Contract management, that's a big part of what we do in our department. We do real property leases on buildings, and the buildings can be seen as a Strong Start Academies. We do the Dina Titus lease. We're in charge of the Red Rock Search and Rescue lease. We do the one for Highway Patrol. We do ground leases, which would be like for the library at the West Yard, the Guy Recreation Center, and the Rafael Rivera Center. Most of our vacant land leases are more staging agreements, so if somebody wants to come in and do a construction project in the area, then we do the short-term staging agreements. We manage all the parkees, billboards, and cell tower leases. We do the golf courses, which includes Durango Hills Golf Course, Municipal Golf Course, Desert Pines Golf Course, and Angel Park Golf Course, the Sports Park, and Woodlawn Cemetery. Part of what we do is we make sure all those contracts are in compliance. We do that by making sure all the maintenance requests are handled in a timely manner. We make sure the payments are current, that if there's any in-kind services that they give us in exchange for rent, that those come in and they're appropriate to whatever the department that is sponsoring the in-kind services requested. We make sure their certificates of insurance are current. We make sure they adhere to all the contract terms, and we work with them and make sure the renewals are done and if the expiration on them exiting the lease. Real property services. Often we're asked to estimate the real property valuation, and sometimes we do that in-house, and sometimes we work with our broker. As we talked about the title reports previously, Mayor, we go through we get title reports on our property and make sure that there's nothing that has been put on the property. We get appraisals, and we determine property ownerships. A lot of times we get asked who owns what property.
How many are in your department?
4.
4, including Teresa.
And do you mandate they sleep here?
I have just mandate they get the work done. How they do that is up to them.
How do they do it? Awesome, awesome.
And I want to mention too that we work a lot with the city attorney's office. John Rodillo does a fabulous job on helping us with all of our contracts and making sure that we stay within the law. We actively manage 121 contracts, and of those, I wanted to talk about highlight a few of them. We have 17 leases. I'm not including any of the nonprofits that are like $1 a year, and we make $360,000 for those. We have 11 billboards and parkees. We make $300,000 a year for those, and we have 21 cell tower agreements. So we make just over $600,000 a year for those. We completed 26 new agreements this year. We assisted the BLM on over 25 projects. We disposed of $6 million of surplus property. We disposed of $2.5 million of the NSP properties. If you remember, those were bought during the downturn and being managed by the Housing Authority. And as soon as they become vacant, we put them on the market and sell them. We have worked with the Las Vegas Municipal Golf Course to make sure that the restrooms are upgraded, that the driving range has been fixed, and that there was a tree issue out there, has been completed. We have worked with Angel Park to get some new CIP projects done. That includes the fence along Rampart and along Alta, and a bunch of activities within their irrigation systems. We've been doing ongoing improvements at Durango Hills Golf Course. We just recently did a refresh on the clubhouse. And we also have been working really hard on Woodlawn Cemetery to make sure that it starts to get looking better. We've done an upgrade on the entrance, the roadways, we put in new irrigation systems. We're trying to make sure that greens up and looks really nice, especially for Memorial Day. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jerry.
Thank you, Teresa. Jerry Walker. I'd like to just commend Teresa. I'm amazed by the amount of work they do get done. And Teresa's a very detailed, micromanagement-oriented employee. And they follow her lead, her 3 employees. They just do a huge amount of work, and they do it in a very thorough and persistent manner, moving some of our lessees, and specifically on the golf course, to having them see our way of, our interpretation of the contract. It has to be done in a firm manner, polite but firm manner. They do a fantastic job on it. I would also reiterate her kudos to the City Attorney's Office and John Rodella. City Attorney is always fantastic to work with, and this area of involvement is no exclusion from that. So they're always happy to work with the City Attorney. They're fantastic.
And before you continue on, we have a couple of comments or questions, if it's all right. So please, Councilman Knutson.
Thank you, Mayor. A quick question, and great presentation, by the way. I was just curious, for the funds that we collect on those leases, does that go back to the general fund, or is that a separate fund for that?
It depends on what they're for. Some of the funds have to go back, like if they're on BLM property, they have to go back into the property that they come off of. Some of them go back into general fund, some of them go in the internal service fund. It just depends on how the property was acquired and where it goes, where those funds go to, so.
Thank you very much.
And I'd like to follow up too with a question. On the golf courses, Angel Park, whatever, it's your responsibility or your department's to go ahead and inspect that the consultant or whoever's been hired under contract to maintain whatever, that it's being done according to the standards that are set by the city?
Yes, yes.
So, and how many golf courses are you responsible for?
4.
And they have different operating agreements, and so Durango, we have a consultant that we manage. At Muni, it's a long-term agreement, and they have complete operating rights, but they have to follow our contract terms, similar for Angel Park, and similar for Desert Pines.
So you have 4 different operators?
4 different operating agreements, 4 different golf courses.
Okay, thank you.
3 different operators, or actually 2 different operators. The Angel Park and Durango Hills are operated by the same company, and Municipal Golf Course and Desert Pines is the same company.
But 4 different agreements contingent on BLM.
Totally
or other
different.
things, so, yes. Okay, thank you. Facilities management provides for operations and maintenance of our facilities. They are an internal service fund, and so they collect fees for that activity, and then the fees should balance out with the expenses. There's 66 currently budgeted for 66 full-time employees. This is broken down to a couple of different categories. We have shrinking custodial, which is kind of a separate issue, and we've outsourced large parts of that. We have then 2 project managers who provide for contractor oversight and in a variety of different manners, and that includes implementation of large capital projects and operational capital improvement projects. We then have field staff with supervisors. Those supervisors help on some of the outsourcing activities, but we do keep a strong staff of journey person level trades people across various categories. That includes electricians, pool techs, HVAC. It's critical that we have those in stock or on site. If a fire station goes down in the middle of July, the fire and rescue doesn't want to hear that the vendor will be there in 7 days. Just drink some ice water. And so we get to things on a quick manner, and that's why we have them here for routine activities. It's cost effective. We pay less than we pay to outsource for the routine activities, and so it's cost effective, plus they're here for emergency needs and for immediate needs. Again, we've got some painters. We're embarking on some improvements in City Hall for wall coverings and floor coverings. Building services tech, which is a general do all trades, and then the plumbers, and overflowing toilets are considered an emergency issue. So they do a variety of mentioned routine internal operational responses, day-to-day activities, oversight of the contractor maintenance, and so there are a lot of regulatory activities that have to be complied with. The elevators have to be serviced, they have to be inspected, fire suppression, fire alarm, those systems, mandatory contractor application. We also have significant contractor outsourcing on the custodial now. We do customer service requests for office activities from staff, and then special project assignments generally through CMO where we're delegated to go take care of certain items. We do CIP administration and support for some of the projects in the facility. Some go through Public Works. We keep that core crew of skilled tradespeople, again, so that we have an immediate response and we're always able to address issues in a timely manner. We also then have that vendor completion of specialized operating needs. That's a growing activity for us, and it's something we need to be more proactive about, especially on our operating capital improvements. We need to not just address day-to-day issues, and we need to be looking 5 years down the road so that it's not a day-to-day issue by the time we get to it. Facilities management, we have approximately 2.3 million square feet, a variety of categories. The dark blue is warehouse activities. We have some transfer stations. Those are lower levels of maintenance. The yellow is the jail, and we have a joint activity there with DPS, and so they provide for some maintenance, we provide for some maintenance. The gray is parks and or cultural and rec centers, a large contingent of those. The orange is administrative offices, so City Hall, the courthouse, those sorts of activities. The light blue is the fire stations, and then the green is a mix of other items. With respect to our work orders, and we do try and track our work activities in a work order system, we're running approximately 7,000 annual work orders. That's light for our staffing. We're not databasing that as well as we should have. We did add a senior business specialist to the division, and this is location or category. That's prone for improvement on our part for database analysis and cost allocations. Facilities management by breakdown. There's our expense category, and so the 4% items up at the top. One of those is debt service for the solar installations at the facilities. There's a general government cost allocation and a network connectivity fee. We're running about $21 million a year in current cost annually, and so that's approaching $1 million for each of those. The gold are the utility cost, or the yellow, and so over $6 million a year runs to utilities. That's a huge cost for us. Those are fixed costs, and so that takes a big chunk of the budget. We have the mandatory operating cost, and those are, again, contract activities such as the custodial, the elevators, those sorts of things. The bulk, or the largest component there, is the 36% in the intermediate blue color. That's our internal staffing, along with supplies, ISF fees. We pay ISF fees too for our facilities, and then ISF fees into IT and fleet ISFs. And then there's a variable operating of the 8%. We have a little over $1 million annually that we spend on supplies for operating costs, and also for smaller CIP improvement projects. That's something we need to grow so that we're staying on top of roofs, carpeting, routine upkeep on our facilities, and we have been expanding that capability and that level of effort. Just a few of the items we've completed in the last 16 months or so. You can see flooring replacements, 100,000 square feet. We're trying to pick up on that. Roof replacements, rehabilitation. The water well replacements are outside of the ISF, but since we have staff that's skilled in that sort of contracting, they provided support. They did provide for the water well replacement at Floyd Lamb last summer, and they're preparing the bid documents for the second water well at Floyd Lamb and the one at Lorenzi. They've also provided out interdepartmental support to fleet and fuel services, and so they've done the first couple of projects for the fuel tank site replacements and upgrades, and continuing to provide some support, but fleet will be taking that over soon with a new individual on board having that skill set and that ability. We did also put in a couple of the HVAC UV disinfection items with federal funding, and so we now have UV disinfection of the HVAC system in this building. We're working on the courthouse as the number 2 structure. And with that, any questions?
Wow. I mean, awesome. Yes, please, Councilman Knutson.
Thank you for the presentation. I just had a quick, on your last slide, I'm curious about the preventative maintenance schedule and anticipated costs, and how we identify what those costs are over a period of time and plan and budget for that.
The maintenance schedule, I'm sorry, for the facilities?
For large chillers that go down, like mapping out when they're going to go down and providing a budget for that.
Well, we had that on the courthouse, and so there was it was contracted out and the numbers came in high. So we went back and looked at the contract. I'm sorry.
I can answer, Jerry.
Okay.
Jorge said what's for the record. So, Councilman, the way we do that is in our capital programming. We allocate for those routine. This department, as well as other departments, to give us 10-year plans. The 10 years, here's the needs. At this community center, we got a re-roof. This other community center, we need a chiller. The next year, they give us that plan, and we allocate the funding through the capital program. We're allocating about $5 million a year for that routine maintenance or replacement stuff. On the recreational side, replacement of artificial turf, those type of things, about $2 million a year. So it's part of that program, but it averages about $7 million between investment into maintenance of parks and facilities.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Do you have any questions, Councilwoman, please?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to say, you guys are a small but mighty team, and you get a lot of work accomplished, and so I just wanted to thank you on behalf of all of our residents for keeping our city as beautiful and clean as possible.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Couple of things. Knowing that when code enforcement has issues that require fencing or replacement of problems, is that also your department in addition to everything you've been doing here?
Generally, code enforcement stays separate so that they have proper billing for their code enforcement actions. If they have immediate issues where we can provide support, we do so.
And so I know driving down Commerce all the time, I notice all that fencing. Is that something from your department, or is that individual property owners?
Those would go back to the individual property owners. Anything that's a city property, we have just added a fencing component. We put money into this year's budget. There are air quality considerations, and so we are starting off on an effort to fence in 37 properties that are vacant parcels owned by the city. We will fence those to secure those against trespass considerations and to improve the appearance of the neighborhood and to protect the parcel from dust control violations.
So that would be a budget item in your department rather than, because I know we own the sidewalks and public areas, and knowing the fence is beyond that, do you then charge it off to the property owner?
Mayor, I can address that, Mayor.
Okay.
So you're talking about on Commerce, some of those vacant lots.
Yeah.
That's the responsibility of the property owner. What we fence off is properties that we own. So anything that's a city facility, a property, some of our drainage facilities, particularly we've been having a lot of trespass challenges, that's where we're allocating that money to address those properties that we own. But anything that's a private parcel is the responsibility of that property owner. Now, if there's a complaint, it goes to code enforcement. Code enforcement reaches out to the property owner saying you need to fence off because you're having trespass or there's a nuisance issue associated with it, then you got to give them time to cure. And usually that time to cure is about 60 days, so once you put them on notice, you got to go through that legal process. If they don't cure, then we have the ability to do it ourselves and put a lien on the property. But typically, it's the responsibility of the property owner. Even though it's behind the sidewalk, it's not within the city right away, so we can't encroach into private property.
Okay. And are any of your area pieces, and especially your earlier report, are they operated as an enterprise fund that they just keep moving the money? There's a charge out and it sustains that part of the department, or is everything a annual budget item?
So we treat this as an internal service fund. What we do is we allocate the cost to every department. For example, in this building here, every department that has square footage, we charge them a per square foot cost that provides the funding for them to be able to do the maintenance. And so every facility we own, we do a per square foot cost to a department and bring it into an internal service fund. And that's when Jerry was saying that they allocate about, was it 21 million?
Yeah, I forgot to bring that up. So we allocate on a square footage basis to be in the internal service fund. So to get the internal service fund, you have to pay the fees. It's a co-op activity. We charge between 11 and 16 bucks a square foot for the full services where we're paying utilities, everything. And so this facility we charge, it's a higher maintenance facility, we charge $16 a square foot per year. That same sort of agreement market rate would run about 30 bucks a square foot where the landlord is providing for everything. So we're beating market rates fairly handily, although we're not including our CIP counts in there. And again, we're in conjunction with PW and CMO trying to increase our CIP efforts.
And two more questions. One is on replacement. A repair is one thing, replacement's another. As I look at all these seats that are here in 10 years, is that in a short and longer term plan, replacement, repair, budgeted to replace carpeting here and whatever else? Is that, yes,
So Mayor, what the facility maintenance do is they do routine maintenance. For example, carpet repair they do. It's within their budget. But major investments like the seats or the monitors, those major go through the CIP, and that's the $5 million a year I was talking about that we program through the CIP is for those major repairs. So they do the minor repairs. Any major repair we go through the capital program to fund that.
And you will stay with the square footage as we look to develop the Civic Plaza across the street? That's sort of the formula which will be the base of how you're planning for a building, two buildings, the park area, all of that?
That is correct. Any building we bring online, we allocate that. Whether it's a fire station, whatever the building is, we allocate it. Because that's how we pay for the utilities of that facility, the consumption. That's what we pay for the maintenance repair they do. So any facility we own, whether existing or new, we do charge them that rate. And I guess you mentioned the rates vary. For example, the courthouse, it's a newer building, so there's less mechanical needs, less maintenance needs, so it's a lower rate. An older building requires a whole lot more investment into it, so it's a higher rate.
But I will add, we are trying in conjunction, in CMO direction, to provide for some of this operational maintenance. We can look at the chairs and know the chairs will have to be replaced. There's no reason we can't budget for that, and it's within cost. And so we're doing some flooring, increasing our level of efforts through vendors and internal on flooring issues, wall treatment issues, roofing, those sorts of things. The air conditioners, standalone air conditioners are routine maintenance activities. Chillers and larger systems have to be scheduled.
Well, I must echo Councilwoman Diaz, and I'm sure all of us here just are so grateful for everything you and your department do so well, so attentively to calls and everything. It's just remarkable, and we thank you so much for this, for your report. And Ms. Boyce, thank you very much. I don't know how you do it. I'm going to go check the department facilities out to see if they're pillows and blankets and if he's telling the truth. But anyway, thank you. It's terrific. Accolades.
All right, thank you.
Wonderful. Okay, that was our report and only. So we will now move on towards setting our calendar. On appeals filed or required public hearings, I'm asking the city clerk to set those public hearing dates and appeals from the City Planning Commission meetings and dangerous building or nuisance litter abatements.
Will do, thank you.
Thank you very much. And now we're into our second and final citizen participation. Citizen participation, public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters within the jurisdiction of the City Council. No subject may be acted upon by the City Council unless the subject is on the agenda and scheduled for action. If you wish to be heard, please come to the podium, give your name for the record, the amount of discussion of any single subject, as well as the amount of time any single speaker is allowed. It may be limited. It's your opportunity to address council, but council is not able to respond or engage in dialogue. So I know we have at least one lady. We have Deborah Cooks as well. And so you'll go ahead, but if Deborah Cooks is still here, we'd like to hear from you and anybody else. And yes, please.
Madam Mayor, Daniel Braisted, Braisted. I want to talk about, I've talked about it before, the ugly newsstands we have in the downtown area where people walk and people look and say, gee, this is the way Las Vegas thinks of themselves. I'm talking about the one on at Carson and the Strip. It has a registration decal of 26. It expired 2021 on the southwest corner. And the one on 4th in front of the D on the west side of the red parking lot garage. There's no registration on it. These are empty. No. I don't understand why the rest of the council doesn't pressure Councilwoman Diaz to clear this up and the city manager to get on with it. There's people paid to track the registration and they are not doing it. They're ugly. I think there should be a fine on it. If you want to leave a newsstand that's ugly, then we're going to fine you $100 to have Mr. Cervantes' group to take it out and scrap it.
What was the first site? I wrote down 4th and D, in front of the D was one. What was
the first one's on the corner of Carson and Las Vegas Boulevard on the northwest corner. It's ugly. If you go there, there's also an RTC sign that's been down, that's been on the ground for over a year. It moves around there. I pointed it out to some Metro people 2 Thursday nights ago, and they go, not our job. And I'm going, I don't know. Okay, I don't know how this place works. So I do think the individual responsible for tracking that and making sure the registration decals are up is reprimanded for not doing their job. This is a multiple choice. Are the marshals, when they're out just cruising, are they forbidden to report code violations? B, are they allowed to report code violations? And E, are they required to report code violations? I'm talking about the no lights underneath the trestle on Charleston. I've written, people have responded, I've come back and said, who's responsible? See, if the city's not responsible, tell me, and I'll walk and get it done, but it's a black hole, and you know what happens in this city with people with electric wheelchairs. They go everywhere, and there's no reflection on them, and then there's homeless hanging around, and then when they get hit, we're going to be real sorry, and we're going to, you know, I would like to find out somebody that will fix the lights underneath the trestle on Charleston, please.
Okay. Hopefully you're moving along. I didn't put a timer on you, so.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I'll just, if you can do those, we'll start there, and thank you very much for your patience and keeping me informed on what you're doing on the El Cid property. That should have been taken care of, some process, many years ago.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and anyone else wishing to make comment, please come forward, state your name for the record.
Hello again, Ms. Mayor Goodman.
Good morning.
My name is Deborah Cooks again.
Okay, now if you can pull the mic real close to you, and out of deference of respect, when men come in front of us and they have a hat on, I ask them to take it off. So in this day of total equality, unless it's something that you can't do because of something, I'd ask you to take your hat off if you wouldn't mind, and appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Please go ahead.
My name is Deborah Cooks. Came again about 106 Marigold Lane. Last time I came on the 1st, you had asked Seth to help me out. He called me that day before, at that day, and he said he would come out, him and, what's her name? Vicky. And Seth went on vacation. So I guess after that vacation, they just came to my house day before yesterday. And when they came to my house, I did everything they complied to that I thought that they first gave me they notice about. So now they're going back to something that happened in '79. When I bought the house, that's the way it was built. I put everything back according to the way they asked me to do it. Okay. And now I feel like I'm being harassed, or like it's just going farther and farther and farther. They're going back to something that happened in 1978. So they said that I signed something, but I haven't seen any paperwork or any information. All I'm doing is getting fines. I want to know what a silver fee is. I keep asking, and nobody tells me. So I'm trying to find out. I'm over $3,000 in fines. It took me over $5,000 to take it down. I can't afford any more. I don't have any money. I did this during the COVID-19 stay-at-home to try to help people and to help myself as well. But now that I don't have anything, I've done everything I could do to try to abide by what the code enforcement told me. They do from plants to taking bars off my windows to police ran into my fence to get my fence repaired, to putting the people out of my house, to move the people. I've done everything I could do. Now they're telling me that something happened that when I bought the house that I should be responsible for. I just want to get that grandfathered in and get that removed and let me live my life, because I woke up this morning, my nose bleeding, my head hurt. I am so stressed out behind this. I can't take this anymore.
Well, I understand code enforcement is working with you, so my hope is that as you continue, I'm sorry it's so stressful, but the reality is that we have a process, and it is through code enforcement and we're very I don't know what the right word is, confident that our code enforcement is seeking to help you fix whatever needs to do to get in compliance. So the only thing I can ask you, as patient as you've been, I'm sorry the stress is very strong for you, but to keep working with code enforcement, because they would be the ones, that whole department would be the ones with whom we're working, and we know, because we've been doing this for years.
But you guys have the final say-so.
Pardon?
But you have the final say-so.
Well, at the point that it would come, what I would suggest is if we have somebody from, well, I can see we have Mr. Scott here.
There's Vicky and there's Seth.
Oh, yeah. I would go ahead and, if you would, speak with her again, and I see Mr. Floyd's here too, Seth Floyd, And so hopefully we can help you get some resolution here. And here's Mr. Scott, who's our counsel.
City Attorney Brian Scott, I'll also meet with code enforcement and this young lady so we can get this resolved.
Wonderful.
Thanks.
Wonderful. So it's Brian Scott, and he's going to help so that hopefully we can get this resolved for you.
Hope so.
And I know it's stressful, but take a deep breath, try. We're trying too, so it's got to be some way that we can work through it. So please keep trying, and I know you've been, but deep breath, deep breath. And so Mr. Scott's meeting with Mr. Floyd and Vicky Ozuna. So thank you very much.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
what about the 79?
I don't know the particulars of the case, so if you would just maybe...
Mayor Brian Scott again. I did talk to Mr. Floyd, and we're going to set up a meeting with her this week, and we'll get something resolved.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and is there anyone else that wishes to address council? Okay, I'm going to close. We'll move on to agenda item 40. Or do we go into closed session before, or should we go ahead and after? Okay.
Yeah, Mayor, once
Okay.
the meeting concludes.
Okay, thank you very much. So our council emerging issues. Are we emerging? Yes, here we have one. Mayor Pro Tem, could you pass that one?
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Cervantes, it's been brought to my attention that we have corrections officers with Department of Public Safety that are sharing body armor. I've never heard of this before. I mean, I was with Metro for 29 years, and we were issued body armor specifically for us, and it was fitted, and we didn't share it with anybody else, especially when it's 110 outside and it's sweating all over the place. So if that is the case, then I'm asking you to immediately, any corrections officer that is responsible for wearing body armor because of their operational assignment, they get issued a ballistic vest so they can protect themselves and it be fitted. And this is really a personal piece of equipment. So I think you need to, just from my own perspective, and I'm thinking probably everybody else believes the same thing, this needs to happen starting today. I know we can find the money to do it. So if you could jump on that, I would appreciate it.
Mayor Pro Tem, we are looking into it. It has been brought up to our attention, so we are looking at it. Just as you know, the only folks that use it is when they're transporting people from the jail to the court. They don't use it in other duties. And it is also negotiated based on their contractual agreement. So we're working on it, and we're glad to update all of you as we work further through that.
Okay, I'm not understanding that it's negotiated. I mean, when you become a corrections officer or a police officer, you're issued a weapon, you're issued handcuffs, you're issued a uniform, you get issued body armor. That's not I don't know, understand how that's being discussed in contract negotiations. As far as I'm concerned, and I'll talk to you about this again in a couple of days, they need to be issued body armor starting today. Yeah. I mean, immediately they need to be fitted with body armor. It shouldn't be negotiated in the contract, just like you don't negotiate whether they're going to carry a firearm or not. I mean, I don't understand that part. So I'm not going to get in the middle of negotiations, but that is something that should not be negotiated. That is an important life-saving piece of equipment that they should be issued personally and fitted starting today. So I'm going to check on it again in a couple of days, but I'm hoping you jump on this. This should be out of the negotiation process.
Yeah, again, Councilman, Mayor Pro Tem, we are working on it, and we'll update you on where we are.
Okay. Yeah. I hope it's more than working on it. I'm hoping that it's happening. So
I mean, I hate to intrude on this conversation, but this is an emerging issue item where we can't really deliberate.
No, I'm not deliberating. I'm just giving my personal opinion. And if it has to come back to as a vote on the city council, we'll do that next week. I mean, the next city council meeting, if that's something that we need to vote on. This is really personal for me, so we need to take care of that. And if it's something that you think needs to be negotiated, then I'll bring it back to the city council for a vote. Okay?
Is it appropriate to add it to an emerging issue, which is what we're on? I mean, is that something that our city manager or we should be able to talk about or not as an emerging discussionable item at the next council or down the road?
City Attorney Brian Scott, Mayor, and that's what this item is for, is to see if there's items that you'd like to place on a future
So, can
agenda.
we-
So that's the kind of direction to staff, so I think Mr. Cervantes understands the Mayor Pro Tem's issue, and we'll handle it. If it needs to come back to you as an agenda item, we'll place it back on the agenda.
Yeah, so basically, my emerging issue is that they be fitted with ballistic armor starting immediately, or if you don't think you can do that for some reason, then I would like it on the city council agenda item for the next meeting.
Yes, sir, we
So
can
we
do
can
that.
vote on it and appropriate funding. So if you can do it, Jorge, you go right ahead and do it. If it can't be done by the next city council meeting, then I want it on there for discussion.
Okay, thank you.
And I think if I might add to that, I'd like to know, I'm a big one and lives with somebody who for 60 years is an attack person. I, on the other hand, am somebody who asks a question. So I would like to know the status, if we could, in the discussion of who is fitted for what he's brought up. So what the status is, that only this group has it or everybody has it. So as part of the conversation or report, and I know you're so thorough, you would do that anyway.
Yes, Mayor. If it's something that we can act on, we will. If it's something that requires council action because of the negotiation, then we'll
Right.
bring that forward as an agenda item for the
Great.
next meeting.
Great. Okay, more. Councilwoman.
Yeah, I just want to add to that because I brought this issue up to the city manager, and I understand they are in negotiations. However, I want to agree with Mayor Pro Tem. I don't think armor is up for negotiation. I think we have to look at making
Okay, well,
sure.
we have to stay. Do you have an issue you want to add to his issue already? Another issue?
Oh, no, I mean,
Emerging.
okay.
Okay, we're on with that issue for one. Okay. Any other issues that council wants to add as an emerging issue? Nothing, Councilwoman? Nothing. Nothing from me. Okay, great. All right, and so we'll move on to agenda item 41, which I'm sure is council comments, so let's see. Agenda item 41, council member recognition. Comments made by individual city council members during this portion of the agenda will not be acted upon by the city council unless such subject on the agenda and scheduled for action. Is there any member of the council who wishes to speak under this portion of the agenda? Who did I say would go first? Before? I can't remember. So, we go to the other way. So you go first.
Okay, I'll go first.
Because you can't leave.
I'm sorry, I did hear.
We're going to have a closed session.
We're having a
so
closed
we're all
session, okay.
Here.
All righty. Go ahead and put my announcements up there. Who's over in charge? Okay, first of all, we're having a concert in the skate park. We have a new skate park at Gerheim Park over by Gerheim Elementary School, so we're going to have some fun with some young adults at a skate park from noon to 4. We're going to have some bands out there. These bands I've never heard of, but I've been told they're pretty good. So come on out, Gerheim Park, from noon to 4, and we'll have a lot of fun. Next, we have a movie in the park on Friday, May 13th at 7 p.m. again at Gerheim Park, and there's the address 3901 North Campbell. If you want to MapQuest that, at 7 p.m. we're going to have popcorn and water, and you can we'll have some food trucks, but you can bring out your blankets and your own food, and it'll be a great night to watch this movie and Encanto. So it's free. Come on out, and you'll have a good time with your kids or just your adults. And then National Day, Wednesday National Day, we already heard it. May the 4th be with you, May 4th. So it's May 4th is Star Wars Day, so have fun with that. And then we have a couple other national days. We have National Orange Juice Day, so drink some orange juice, it's good for you. Then today is also National Bird Day. Say hi to a bird or watch the movie, Hitchcock's movie, The Birds, and get scared to death. But it is National Bird Day, and it's National Melanoma Day, so Please check with your doctor to make sure that your skin is in good shape and you protect yourself with sunscreen. And that's it. And if you want to get a hold of me, there's my text and phone numbers and emails. And have a great week. Thank you.
Wonderful. I want to thank you for the lima beans, because your last session you had lima bean day, and they were delicious. We had them for dinner, so thank you. I see you didn't bring any orange juice or samples.
No orange juice or birds or anything like that. So, but I'm glad you enjoyed them.
Thank you. All right, Councilman Creer.
Thank you, Mayor. The City of Las Vegas Historic Preservation Commission has hired a cultural resource management firm to conduct a survey of your neighborhood to determine if properties are eligible for listing on the National Register of Historic Places. The meeting will take place on Wednesday, May 11th at 6 p.m. at the Historic West Side School located at 330 West Washington Avenue. For more information, contact Teresa Smith at 702-229-3151. We are very, very excited to invite you to the Las Vegas Arts at Symphony Park, featuring Frankie Marino, Paige and Overtones, Zach Ryan, alongside Las Vegas' own fine arts and art organizations. The Discovery Children's Museum will have hands-on activities for kids, and there will be plenty of vendors, artists showcasing their projects, and food and beverages available for all. This event is presented with support from the Smith Center for the Performing Arts. We thank them. For more information, contact my office at 702-229-5443 or the Culture Affairs office at 702-229-2787. Join us for the Ward 5 Movie in the Park in partnership with the Animal Foundation on Saturday, May 21st at 6:30 p.m. at Patriot Park, located at 4050 Tom Boulevard. Please bring your pets, neighbors, and friends to enjoy a free movie under the stars. We'll have light refreshments will be provided while supplies last. Bring your low-back chairs and a blanket for comfort. And for more information, contact my office, 702-229-5443. Just want to thank the Animal Foundation for partnering with us on this, and look to do more with them as well. Please join me and former NBA player C.J. Watson for the annual Hoops for Hope basketball camp, which will take place from July the 14th to the 16th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Doolittle Community Center. The camp is designed to empower youth to eat healthy and exercise daily. Participants will learn techniques and fundamentals of basketball and the importance of life skills. Registration is now open, and participants must be in grades 4th through 8th grades. Please call 702-778-3315 to register, or email Kathy Watson at Kathy, which is the C-A-T-H-Y, at quietstormfoundation.org. This camp fills up quickly, so call today to be included in this year's annual youth event. This is Teachers Week, and I'd like to recognize teachers who dedicate their time to educate our children. I'm amazed about their work and endurance to lead our youth to their next level. An unknown author quoted, "Teaching is the one profession that creates all other professions." It is in the teachers who have the greatest superpower to create superheroes, and they deserve recognition every day that they step into the classroom. So thank you, teachers. We are always working to provide updates. You can subscribe to our newsletter, email Tanya Jackson at Renter, tjackson@lasvegasnevada.gov. You can always call our office. You can always catch us on social media at Twitter at Cedric Career, Instagram Councilman Career, and Facebook Councilman Cedric Career. And just want to also congratulate all the graduates who are graduating this season for high school, college, that are moving on, even those that are moving on from elementary school to middle school. Quite the accomplishment. Proud of you all, and congratulations.
Thank you very much. Councilwoman Seaman, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Charlotte's Web was one of my favorite childhood books, so I may have to come watch the movie. So we had a great Art in the Park, our third one that was at Bruce Trent Park, and it was very successful. And we will be doing it again in the fall, so all you artists out there, we look forward to seeing you October 15th. The Night of Power at the Summerlin Area Command was such a great event. I really commend Metro for reaching out to the community, the Muslim community, and celebrating their Night of Power with them. We had a great time with the city event, Doggy Days, and Metro. Metro's Patrol with Paws Doggy event was another great community outreach program. Nothing better than spending a day in the park with your dogs and Metro. So Animal Foundation pets are up for adoption. We have Clyde. He's a male, neutered 15-year-old, about 75 pounds. I have to tell you guys, they have the sweetest dogs over at the Animal Foundation. And then we have Buddy, a male neutered 2-year-old, about 62 pounds. Then we have Lucy, a spayed 6-year-old, about 60 pounds. And then Bane, a 3-year-old, about 50 pounds. They also have smaller dogs there too. So if you like any of these dogs or would like to visit the Animal Foundation, please call 702-955-5901 or email adoptions@animalfoundation.com. And then the Nevada SPCA has adoptions as well for all types of pets. And we have Boomer here, a beautiful 5-year-old cat, about 10 pounds. We have a 3-year-old neutered male, about 52 pounds, Bryce, beautiful dog. So again, if you would like to contact them for any of their animals or other pets they have up for adoption, please call 702-873-7722, or you can email them at info@nevadaspca.org. So if you have a business in Ward 2 and you want to get the word out, our successful social media presentation of businesses is available to any of you out there who have a business in Ward 2. You can contact us at 229-2420 or email us at ward2@lasvegasnevada.gov. We have our monthly breakfast buzz in Ward 2 Biz Saturday, May 7th at Charlie's Lakeside from 9 to 10. Come out and discuss your issues and concerns and break bread with us. If you would like to come, RSVP at Ward 2 at lasvegasnevada.gov. If you have any other issues or concerns, I have a fabulous team that can handle all your issues at Ward 2 at lasvegasnevada.gov. Main line is 702-229-2420. You can follow us on social media at Victoria D. Seaman, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and LinkedIn at Victoria Seaman. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman, and Councilwoman Diaz, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. You and I had the pleasure last week on April 21st to congratulate Sam Cherry and Raul Gil for supporting a new minority-owned business that opened in Share Downtown and had the opportunity to overcome the pandemic and get their doors open. And so I just want to say felicidades to Jose Javier Sanchez and his wife, Ana Yance Dominguez, on the grand opening of their bar, Misterio Mezcal. You can visit them at Share Downtown Arts District, 1300 South Casino Center Boulevard, suite number 150, adjacent Golden Fog in the Arts District. On April 26th, we had the opportunity to have and host a roundtable at the historic 5th Street School, and I just want to thank Dr. Tammy Malich and her amazing YDSI staff for helping me organize the very first Ward 3 Principals Roundtable. We had a productive and frank conversation with principals and administration from 16 schools in my district who attended. And again, just like Councilman Creer stated, I hope that all of you show our teachers some love this week, as it is Teacher Appreciation Week, and we need our heroes to know that they're valued and appreciated. On April 29th, I was also lucky to co-host an event with the Las Vegas City Employees Association, whose offices are in my ward, and we had an awesome shredding and medication turn-in event. So I just want to thank our LVCEA for partnering and co-hosting this very first shredding event of the year in Ward 3. Also on April 30th, we had Earth Day and Children's Day, and it was awesome to celebrate all of these days, Children's Day, Earth Day, Arbor Day, at Gary Reese Freedom Park by planting 48 new trees in Gary Reese Freedom Park to help improve the environment and continue to increase our tree canopy in our beautiful city. I want to give a special thank you to Marco Villada, Rachel Lewiston, all of our fabulous planning team that made it an amazing event. And I also want to thank our special events team who were awesome. I'm grateful for all of our city partners. Nevada Energy was a big push in the volunteerism to get those trees planted. Get Outdoors Nevada, Impact Nevada, and One Tree Planted. Thank you all for your support. And I want to send a very special thank you to our former councilman, Gary Reese, who took part in our very ceremonial tree planting festivities as well. I want to invite all of you to participate at our upcoming Cinco de Mayo event at Gary Reese Freedom Park. It will happen May 6th. Join us at 5 p.m. for a parade followed by a short reenactment of the Battle of Puebla or some different folkloric art that will be expressed thereafter. On May 13th, we'll have a mini pitch ribbon cutting ceremony at Gary Reese Freedom Park. Gary Reese is popping and happening. I'm noticing all of these events are happening there. So we are so thankful for the U.S. Soccer Foundation and Target who donated and matched $200,000 to fund the project. And as always, my team stands ready and able to address any concerns you have, and we highly encourage you to email us if you have something that you notice isn't working properly, or you can always call if email isn't user-friendly. Call us at 702-229-2359. And I just want to apologize if we've been a little bit behind in my office. Some of my staff members and I were a little out of the normal. We were ill and we're behind, so we understand, but know that we'll get back to you as soon as we can.
Thank you. Councilman Knutson.
Thank you, Mayor. We have a park cleanup at Woofter Family Park this Saturday, May 7th at 8 a.m. with Get Outdoors Nevada. We will also be cutting the ribbon on the new fitness court, which is very exciting because we have another one in Bill Breer Park. So that's at number 2 now in Ward 1. If you want to volunteer, you can sign up for the Get Outdoors Nevada and come by and visit and have a workout. And then also Brews with Brian is happening on May 26th from 6 to 7 p.m. at Slater's 5050 at the Lake Mead location. I look forward to hearing from residents about issues and how the city of Las Vegas can be helpful. Feel free to RSVP at Ward 1 at lasvegasnevada.gov. And then finally, just like to extend a big thank you to Mateo. He's been interning in our office for the last semester. He's at UNLV, and he'll be going on to bigger and better things. We're grateful for his time at the city of Las Vegas. Thank you to Mateo. And if you have any questions for us, there's all my contact information, so feel free to reach out. Thanks, Mayor.
Great, thank you, Councilman. And how long's that tavern been there where you're having your brews with Brian?
They just opened a few months ago, and we just issued them the beer wine license. David Riggleman knows about it. It's the most unhealthy food you can find, and it's delicious. So if you're not on a diet, I would recommend going there. On a diet, it's a struggle.
50 beers, and the patties are 50.
Can you turn on your microphone? I mean, let's sell it while we can.
Okay. It's called Slater's 50/50 because they have 50 beers on draft there, and the burgers there are 50% bacon and 50% beef. So they're
kill your heart.
As Councilman says, they're probably not the
He's woken up.
It's
the
delicious.
healthiest, but they are really good.
It's Lake Mead in Buffalo. So,
Yes.
Mayor, you'd appreciate this. When I asked him why it's a franchise, why he went into that franchise, he said he was looking for a restaurant for his children, because you can't have it too loud, it'll scare children, and if it's too quiet, your children scare everybody else. So it's just the right amount of loudness for children to go and run around, and you can have a beer, and hopefully your heart survives. It's not the healthiest, but it's delicious.
What's it called?
Slater's 50/50. It's Lake Mead in Buffalo.
Right, anytime there's food, I know Mayor Pro Tem, he's got it, and wow, did Councilman Creer hear that and go for it. My God, heart killer. And so, just this by way, all of us have family and things going on, but of particular excitement, our Chief of Public Information, David Riggleman's son, Tom, was in. Could you just tell a little bit about what he was in at the University of Syracuse in upstate New York?
That's very kind of you, Mayor. He would probably shoot me, knowing that I'm doing this, but...
Maybe it's only real publicity. This is the entertainment capital
It
of the
is,
world.
and maybe he'll be performing here someday, who knows? But he was in a production at Syracuse University of As You Like It. It's a Shakespeare play, of course, as we all know, but a few years ago, a woman named Shauna Taub put music to it, so it's a musical version of As You Like It, and Tom played Orlando, the main character, who, if you know the story, falls in love with Rosalind and so on and so on. It's a comedy, and we saw all the performances while we were there, so.
All of them, so he knows everything about what he did, every breath. Yes. And I have to say, when I was a teenager or younger, I saw As You Like It with Katharine Hepburn in New York.
And she played Rosalind, that was... Yeah,
So,
that'd be
no
something
music.
to remember
No
for sure.
music.
So,
Tough.
but this one has songs in it now, Mayor. So, but thank you for asking your support.
Thank you, and give our best congratulations. And to echo what Councilman Creer said, there's so many graduations going on, whether from college, high school, middle school. So to all the moms and pops and the students who are doing this, every day's a new day. Life is good if you make it so. Good choices and doing the right thing. Now, from my staff who keeps me going and informed, tomorrow is the National Day of Prayer, and here at City Hall, in front of City Hall at 9 a.m., of course, we'll be praying for peace and calm and Ukraine and for everyone. So join us 9 a.m. in front of City Hall, and I'm double checking with Jace to make sure the National Day of Prayer is on at 9 o'clock, correct? Okay, and then Wednesday, May 11th, we're unveiling plans for our new Civic Plaza, which will be across the street, finally. And a little shout out again to former Councilman Coffin, who called for that for several years. We need to use that property. And that we'll also be honoring our Urban Design Award winners in the chambers here at 9:30. Those are the mayor's urban design. It's called the MUDA Awards. These are different architects and developers who really made a difference in our community. And none of us can forget Saturday, May 14th, 10 a.m. on 4th Street. Not a mini Las Vegas Days parade, but an old-fashioned Las Vegas Days parade on Saturday the 14th, and it will start at 10 a.m. sharp, and our wonderful events ladies and gentlemen who are involved, and in particular Jasmine, who makes it happen. So come on down. It should be great. There's a competition for the best floats, and the high school's been involved, and we've offered, I believe, prizes. I think they might, and we also upfronted. There is no such word as upfronted, but money to help design the floats. That was back in April. So come on down. That should be good, and hopefully no wind. And so our next council's May 18th, which is 2 weeks from today, if I'm looking for the clerks who confirm, yes, May 18th. So with that, thanks to everybody that I thank all the time. Safety always first for taking care of us. I don't see a yes, I do. Over there. And over there. Thank you very much for taking care of us. For everybody at IT who, over there, are you jumping? I see nothing. Yes, there was a little flicker, but from Jesse always, right. It's his birthday? Wonderful. And it was Jesse, is he our Jesse in there too?
Well, no, Jesse Harville from Channel 2.
Our Jesse. And Jesse Garone was his birthday too, tomorrow I think, or this week. So anyway, to everybody and all of our management, our staff, everybody who works here, our clerks, and our legal team, thank you for keeping us truthful. And for our public, thank you very much. We will stand adjourned, and we will be adjourned. And now we're going into